South Central Correctional Facility in Licking, Missouri today had a hostage situation. An already very troubled prison in the state of Missouri with drugs, alcohol, smuggling, many deaths over the past 2 years, inmate deaths. First, let's talk about the hostage situation. And then let's talk about why 2 wardens from that prison within 2 years have been fired and a high-ranking supervisor at that prison. First of all, we want to say that the hostage has been released. The inmate is in custody. Thank goodness no one was hurt. That's the most important thing. We know an employee was taken hostage this morning around 8:30 a.m. Monday, October 20th. We know that the prison was put on lockdown, as it should be. We know that this was in a housing unit with an employee. We don't know if it's an officer or civilian yet. We don't know if it's a male or female yet. But we do know the hostage situation is over. We know that during the situation, until about 1:30 p.m. this afternoon, when the situation was over, the inmates on lockdown were delivered their meals. You say, okay, big deal. They were delivered their meals. Why is that important? Well, if you've ever worked in corrections, you know to keep the rest of the inmate population calm and from having them go on an uprising, we still need to make sure they get their meals. If you've ever done corrections, you already know meals and medical and how clean is the facility or how the living conditions are huge in stopping and keeping down hostage situations. These are things that the newspaper doesn't report when they report an incident like this. There's many things that we do to try to keep down hostage situations. Those are 3 things that if anybody goes, well, who cares if they get their meal, their medical, or what their living conditions are like? Well, I care as a retired correctional officer, retired prison inspector. I care for the fellow officers and all the employees working behind the prison walls. I care that they get those because I don't want to see anybody taken hostage. I don't want to see anybody harmed working behind those walls. So with that said, that hostage situation has been taken care of. I will put in the notes down here under this video when we learn if it's a man, a woman, civilian, a uniformed person who was taken hostage, and when we learn exactly why the inmate took this person hostage. This prison holds about 1,600 inmates. It's a very large prison. What's going on at this prison? Well, here's a picture of the prison I took from the outside, a picture of the outside of the prison that I took about 4 weeks ago when I was there. Warden Michelle Buckner was fired earlier this year in 2025. Staff members, you're not just hearing this from the news or from me, staff members, and I did make some calls to officers I know in Missouri, have all confirmed. They nicknamed this place the Wild Wild West. They said drugs and drug smuggling is running rampant within South Central Correctional Facility. They said deaths. There was 19 inmate deaths in 2024, mostly contributed to overdoses from drugs that were being smuggled in. Who smuggled the drugs in? Well, we know visitors probably brought some of it in, but officers were arrested over the last 2 or 3 years for smuggling drugs into South Central Correctional Facility in Licking, Missouri. We also know that 3 or 4 correctional officers are being charged with second-degree murder, and they face second-degree murder charges. They were terminated from their employment after one of the deaths. The warden was fired, and during her investigation, they found out that under her command, staff members and prison employees could come in the back gate of the prison unchecked No lunch boxes checked. No metal detector. Now, when you're running a facility this way, it's no wonder there's tons of drugs coming in, because those few corrupt officers, those few corrupt civilian staff, nobody's checking me, and I can make $1,200 a pop. I can put the drugs in my boots, in my underwear. I can put them up my butt, but I don't need to because they don't check me. I can put the drugs in my bra for the females. They could, anywhere. And just walk right in. The money doesn't have to be exchanged from the inmate to the officer. No, the money goes wherever the officer wants it. Maybe they picked it up from a cousin on the street in cash before the delivery or after the delivery. Maybe they have an extra bank account set up somewhere and the money is sent. Maybe Western Union, they go pick up the money at Western Union. All kinds of way for the staff members to be paid that are bringing these drugs in. Well, in the meanwhile, a warden prior and now this warden, within 2 years, have been fired because of all these bad things going on at the Wild Wild West South Central Correctional Facility. I don't know the reason for the hostage situation today. I hope it didn't have anything to do with contraband smuggling gone bad, staff-inmate relationship gone bad. We'll find out what the real reason is. There is a new warden there now. There is a new top supervisor under the warden working to clean this facility up. Since they've taken over, I believe this is the first thing I've heard come out of it. I was there a month ago because I wanted to see the facility, because I'd heard from some of my correction officer friends over there that this place is known to be off the chain. By all, Missouri Corrections just knows that this place is off the chain, and staff members that work there aren't afraid to say why. And staff members have had to leave this place. Yes. I'm not going to give any names. But a person who needed a job, got hired on there, was trying to do the job correctly at South Central Correctional Facility, and saw some things and reported truthfully what they saw. And it was like the family, the mafia there, he said. They threatened me. They told me they were going to, harm me and do this to me, because he told the truth and some of the other officers lied about this certain incident. And this goes back to before Warden Buckner was fired from this facility. When you get a group that turns bad, that turns corrupt, and then you have a warden that's so lax in her security that the back door is open for everybody to walk in freely, you're creating a very violent situation for the honest officers. I've seen this before. I've investigated it before. It's in my book, Corruption Behind Bars, Charlotte Correctional Institution. One of the titles is The Family. Very corrupt situation, very dangerous situation. I was even threatened during those investigations. I was threatened that if we ever catch you off duty somewhere, and the assistant warden called me and said, Gary, those threats are true. So all I was the person coming in to investigate after incidents occurred, right? But you know what they say, when the rats get cornered, they're going to attack whoever's in front of them. Well, as the prison inspector, I was the one in front of them now. I was the threat to them. That's another story, folks. But I wanted to give that example, and that's what happens when a prison turns to this nature. So I know a little bit about South Central Correctional Facility. I've seen it. I took this picture from the outside, and I've talked to 3 people, 2 former employees. Won't mention anything else about the other one. I think I gave you a little scenario about the other one just a minute ago. So I'm not going to use any names. I'm not going to do that. I know that the people that told me things are all safe and away from this place now. So anyway, the one thing I want to say again and stress, thank goodness whoever the hostage was, and we'll know shortly, I'll put it in the comment, they are safe, they are released, and the inmate is in custody, and charges are pending, criminal charges. We have to be honest, folks. We have to do our job honest. We pin that badge on. We take an oath to do the right thing. I'm sick and tired of management being lax and officers turning corrupt. That's not what we're here for, folks. I want to say that what you see at the top is what you see at the bottom. And I'm not saying that Warden Michelle Buckner was corrupt. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying she allowed for people to turn corrupt. She allowed for these things to happen by not being a good leader and security-minded. Thank you very much for watching. Gary York, True Prison Stories. Please subscribe.